Welcome back. Let's join our host for the tale of a powerful king who underestimated the fury of the Northmen, and he paid for it, both he and England.
It's the middle of the 9th century, Saxon England. King Ælla of Northumbria orders his prisoner to the pit, the snake pit, a deep well of stone with pit floor strewn with skulls, bones, and heaps of hissing, coiling adders. "Push him in," orders Ælla. 2 guards jab the prisoner with the points of their swords. The massive Viking sea king, with his rough hide hairy breeches and his hands bound tight, steps up on the ledge. "I claim my Viking right to die with a sword in my hand." "And I deny that right," Ælla jeers back. "You shall not enter Valhalla." The prisoner turns to one of the guards. "Cut my bounds. Give me a sword." The guard moves cautiously closer as the prisoner shoves out his tied hands. "No," the king shouts. But the guard fears the prisoner more. He cuts the leather straps from the prisoner's wrists and steps back quickly. The big Viking roars with laughter, reaches out and grabs the king's guard, taking him with him as he jumps into the snake pit, yelling, "Odin!" Amid striking snakes and shrieks from the king's guard, the old warrior sings a Viking death song. Then he bellows his last words to reach the ears of his 4 sons far away, a warning to Ælla that his boys are sure to exact revenge. The little pigs would grunt now if they knew how it fares with the old boar. When the sons of Ragnar Hairy Breeches received the news, Bjorn Ironside gripped his spear shaft so hard the print of his fingers remained stamped upon it. Halfdan the Stingy, playing chess, clenched his pawn so tightly blood came out from under his fingernails. Sigurd Snake Eye, trimming his nails with a knife, kept paring down to the bone. But the 4th son was the one who counted, Ivar the Boneless. Ivar's eyes glinted with fury as he demanded the details, the exact details of his father's execution. Ivar's skin, puffed up by anger, turned his face red, then blue, then pale, as he looked into the faces of his brothers. "I swear on the grave of our father, he will have his revenge. Blood Eagle," he ground out through clenched teeth. "Blood Eagle." Ivar immediately ordered a vast war band of Norsemen. Ivar, his brothers, and their Viking forces set out to destroy England, starting with Northumbria and King Ælla. Every field laid waste, every inch of ground scorched. So great the terror, farmers dared not cultivate their crops or gather their grapes in the vineyards. Scarcely a place in all of North England not marked with the firebrand, the dagger, and blood. It was all or nothing combat. The humble wood axe transformed into a 2-handed battle axe, the lethal Dane axe, forged from iron with a blade of steel so cutting edge not even Europe could imagine it. The English called it lightning war, for Vikings struck without warning, killing instantly. Like lightning, there was no defense, and like lightning, they brought fire. Not even a city with fortified walls stopped them. Ivar's army simply camped in the woods outside the walls, where the sparrows that nested in the thatched roofs of the city houses flew each day for food. Then he ordered his men to catch the birds, bind chips of bark to their backs, pour melted wax on top of the bark, and set each bird on fire. As soon as they let them go, the little birds flew back over the walls of the city to seek their nests, then set the thatch to burning. Soon the whole city was aflame. Neither kings nor rulers escaped their wrath, but the wealthy had silver to buy protection and peace. For a time, until the sons of rage and revenge returned for more, and they always came back for more. But what if their targets didn't pay up? The ceremony of hangings. Outside rebellious villages, the Vikings constructed an avenue of trees with victims strung up on T-shaped crosses, keeping the severed head of the village chieftain to throw over the walls of the next town as a threat of what was to come. If a river stood in their way, along the opposite riverbank, the axe-eager, war-happy raven feeders put a line of gallows and hung bodies of their victims, a visible warning to those across the river: surrender or meet your fate. Imagine waking up to that before your morning mug of mead. No Viking tales could compare to the siege and slaughter of Ivar the Boneless, but one tale was all too true: Blood Eagle. This was the doom that overtook Aella. When the sons of Ragnar Hairy-Breeches finally caught up with their father's executioner, Ivar, his brothers, and their war band of Northmen stormed the daunting fortress perched high over the rocky coast of the North Sea, the fortress of Aella of Northumbria. As Ivar's fleet landed below the cliff, his army poured from their longships, wielding axes, flaming torches, brandishing swords, and battle cries. "Don't touch the murderer," Ivar commanded. "He's mine." Aella's fortress was sacked. All but a few were put to fire and sword, as witnesses and as warning. Deafening silence descended on what was once home to the King of Northumbria. Amid the ashes, all that was heard was low sobbing and the crackle of dying embers and dying Saxons. The fury of the Northmen unabated, their bloodlust unquenched, the half-crazed warriors began a low chant: "Ragnar, Ragnar, Ragnar." As Aella was dragged before Ragnar's boys, the warriors' chant changed to "Blood Eagle, Blood Eagle, Blood Eagle." Sigurd Snake-Eye flung the victim at the feet of his brother Ivar. Burning with rage and revenge, the sons of Ragnar Hairy-Breeches spread Aella face down. "This is for our father Ragnar, slaughtered by this Saxon dog." As the screaming king begged for his life, Sigurd took out his dagger and carved deep the figure of an eagle on the victim's back, then pulled the bleeding Aella off the floor and propped him up on a table. Blood-curdling screams mixed with the crashing waves below the cliffs as Ivar the Boneless took out his double-head axe, cut open Aella's chest, tore his rib cage from his spine, ripped out his lungs, and draped them over his shoulders like wings. Then the mastermind of siege and slaughter collected the dead king's blood in his helmet and drank it. Ivar the Boneless left North England blood-stained for half a century, dividing the Isle of Britannia in half, north and south, changing the map of England forever. It would not take long for England's 7 kingdoms, the Heptarchy, to be lost to the Vikings. All but England's last kingdom south of the Thames, Wessex, and its beating heart, Winchester. It's where we find Our Lady with her bones in a box. For something remarkable happened. The year Ivar died, a Saxon king came to power in Wessex, England's greatest warrior king who pushed against the darkness and halted the threat of Viking conquest. From the last of the 7 kingdoms, this warrior king saved the Saxon homeland, creating England itself, unifying England under one crown. The only king in British history to be honored with the title the Great, King Alfred the Great. The English monarchy and its one crown is traced to him, passed down by him. One crown worn by Queen Emma's 2 husbands and her 2 sons. A century later, when Our Lady came of age, the English crown would be in jeopardy once more. From the actions and inactions of the great-grandson of England's greatest king, a feckless king, unready and unworthy of the throne, a weak king who almost finished the Saxon monarchy, a king to whom the hand of Emma of Normandy was given. Yes, The lady grew up hearing of her ancestors, the dangerous sea robbers who went a Viking. No doubt, many times in her young life, she peered across the choppy waters to see the chalk cliffs of the Saxon kingdom, and many times across a sea wrapped in sails, Viking sails. Little could she know the England she saw across the great channel was not only a kingdom, but a great chessboard where each player had a part to play, a chessboard upon which she was destined to play the immortal game, a game that leaves nothing to chance, a game whose outcome is the result of the moves each side freely chooses, a great game being made ready for her, ready for the chess pieces to take their places on the board.
We invite you to share Stones and Bones with those who love history, those who love all things medieval and Viking, those who love all things royal, and especially those who love stories of strong and influential women in history. Please like and share the Stones and Bones podcast on your social media. Next time on Stones and Bones, we'll go berserk as we discover one of the medieval world's greatest buried treasures.